It seemed like it was just a few days ago on the Rod Pedersen Show.
Todd Pinkney, one of our P1s who came to our Seattle Kraken expansion draft watch party the other night, asks if Monty the Squirrel's going to use the lawnmower 4.0 to trim his nuts. I was thinking more, how about that? But
How about that?
it's not an unreasonable question.
No, it is not.
Monty the Squirrel. Can we get that done up by the end of the show? And I'm in favor of your mom sewing the costume this time.
You are?
Yes.
Are you watching?
Paula?
She's probably watching.
What's going on back here? They're all laughing back there. Oh, I'd wonder. Oh.
Because then you paused. And I was like, this in favor of her? What?
I know. I heard them bust out laughing. I'm like, what are you?
And then you sewing the costume, and it's like, just disarmed me. I'm like, okay, we're good. She can sew the costume.
I'm in favor of your mom.
What? Say it. Say it.
Stay tuned, sit back, enjoy. Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
I was at a table with referees. This is like a room full of accountants.
Spicy.
And they asked about Connor Bedard, and they laughed. And remember that night that I yelled in the bubble?
At Bob.
Great call, Bobby! I yelled it at the referee because he called a penalty shot in favor of the Regina Pats.
Well, it's an empty arena, so like your voice will just echo and echo and echo. Yeah, they heard you for sure. That was pretty funny.
Good call, Bobby!
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
It is. Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show. And we have discerned and deduced that is episode number 646 of your favorite daytime sports talk show, coming to you from beautiful and finally sunny South Florida. That's one half of the show. And we welcome in from the NHL's Bermuda Triangle, the Moose, Darren DuPont, whom I have not seen his smiling, charming face here in the new year, I don't think. I guess this morning on the morning Zoom call. How you doing, Moose? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Rod. I'm doing well, despite the snowstorm outside. How are you?
Oh, there's a snowstorm, is it? Okay, well, the question is, how am I going to get to tonight's Florida Panthers-Calgary Flames game tonight? Because the top's down on the Jeep, and it's a little breezy here, so we'll see. But I'm ready to go. I'm ready to talk sports. I see everybody chiming in on the YouTube comment section. They're going nuts. We haven't heard from them live in some time now, so just hold on to your bingo cards for a second, because Moose and I got some things to go over. Are you ready, Darren, to talk sports for the next 2 hours?
Well, there's no shortage of stuff to talk about, so yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah. Well, I've watched TSN Sports Center 3 times this morning, so I feel ready to go. I will just say this, that producer Clark is coming in hot into the new year with the guests today. We've got Jeff Reinbold, Canadian Football League icon. He really is, from the coaching fraternity. Jeff Reinbold in hour 1, and in hour 2, TSN's Director of Scouting, Craig Button. Very much looking forward to Butts joining us from Cowtown. So those are the guests today. Can we hit the quick 6 show horn, please, Director Jordan? And we'll go from there. We'll go from there. I just have a feeling that we're going to get sidetracked, take the off-ramp, not necessarily to Crazy Town, but the off-ramp to Nowheresville fast, Moose. But that's okay, because I don't think that the viewers, they know now through 646 shows that we ain't too fancy around here.
That's right.
So we're going to start with the National Hockey League and what went down on Monday night. New York Rangers head coach Gerard Gallant was looking for a strong group effort against the Edmonton Oilers. He got that Monday night, and now the Rangers are the number 1 team in the NHL standings. Chris Kreider scored his 20th goal. Ryan Strome had a goal and 2 assists, and the Rangers beat the slumping Oilers 4-1 for their 3rd straight win. Alexis Lafreniere and Barclay Goodrow each had a goal and an assist. I watched the game. It was a bit of a snoozer. Adam Fox had 2 helpers to help the Rangers win for the 4th time in 6 games. They moved to number 1 in the Metropolitan Division. and also the NHL. They're tied with Washington. They both have 48 points, but they hold the edge based on regulation wins. Now for the Oilers, Ryan McLeod scored for Edmonton. They're 2-8-2 over their last 12 games. Mikko Koskinen made 24 saves in the loss, got ripped by his coach Dave Tippett after the game. And the Rangers held Oilers stars Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid off the score sheet. Connor had 7 shots on goal. Leon had 2. Let's drop anchor for a second on that game, if you don't mind. There were 2 other postponed games that we won't get into. I'm lovingly watching the social media reaction to what's going on with the Edmonton Oilers and this swoon. It's not really their latest swoon. It's this extended swoon. Clearly, the new year meant really nothing for the Edmonton Oilers. And Darren, are you seeing? They're not even talking about goaltending anymore. These are the fans and some media talking about a potential coaching change. And the names John Tortorella and Mike Babcock are coming up. And I don't know if you by chance saw the comment from Matthew Barnaby. He's like, I played for Tortorella. He ain't the answer. And unless any new coach can play goal, that's what the Edmonton Oilers' problems are. But whew, I can feel the heat from northern Alberta all the way down here. So I guess the question is, an apropos poll question today could have been, should or will the Edmonton Oilers make a coaching change? And that isn't the poll question. We're going to get to that in a moment. But I don't know, man. I'm sitting here going from day one, going back the last couple of years, we said there's nothing wrong with the Oilers that goaltending wouldn't fix. Why? This is we're getting into definition of insanity territory here, don't you think?
Feels like it. It really feels like it, that's where we're headed, or that's where we are, beating our heads against the wall, trying to do the same things, looking for different results. And, I understand why these names have come up and why Dave Tippett's, on the hot seat. We were 13-5 out of the gate. I mean, they were one of the hottest teams and one of the best teams in the National Hockey League. And when you watched them play, you thought, who can beat the Oilers right now? They're that good. But, they've gone cold, which you knew that, it was going to be pretty hard and pretty difficult for the Stars, Leon and Connor, to keep up that pace throughout an entire season. But they were keeping it up for an extended period of time. But you're right, the goaltending has been an issue. It continues to be an issue. Now we're looking at, is Stuart Skinner the answer, and he needs to be called up and he needs to play more games. There's a lot of issues here. They're allowing the first goal way too often, so they're always starting out in a hole. That's a problem. Goaltending obviously is an issue, and I understand why Mike Babcock's names come up because of the relationship with Ken Holland going back to Detroit. Is coaching the answer? I've heard it both ways. No, but I've also heard that maybe it's what's needed. But I'm with you, obviously, until the goaltending is fixed and you're not, and your starts are a little bit better, the Oilers aren't going to turn this around.
Maybe not. They're 4th in the division, which means they're in a playoff spot. I saw my man crush on SportsCenter, Mike Johnson, basically saying, doesn't matter what the cost is, contracts, whatever, get a goalie in here and do it. And whatever penalty that comes with that, if you're over, pay it, because that's what it's going to take for the Edmonton Oilers. But I think we're at a point now, we're into the new year. This is not U.S. Thanksgiving. You are what you are. Make do with what you have. You made a decision after last year's playoffs when you got swept by Winnipeg in the first round to go with these guys. So they are what you have. You could have signed Braden Holtby in the offseason. You didn't want to. You got bought out by Vancouver. So I still think it's goaltending. I just wonder, why are we still sitting here talking about it? So, by the way, the text line's open. And I'm a little out of sorts. I can't even remember the text line number. Can you? There you go. 902-518-3033. Pick up the phone and text Rod Pedersen. 902-518-3033. Ray in Scarborough, Ontario is watching on Game Plus television right now. And he says, hi, Rod and Rod Squad. Happy New Year. Wish I were in Florida with you. Not a great start to the year here in Ontario. Partial lockdown starting midnight tonight. At least I still have the RP show daily. Have a good day. That's from Ray in the 6. And I'm with you. I have a lot of people saying, wish that I was in Florida with you. And trust me, I get it. It's a dreamland. I've been everywhere. I discern this is the best place that I've been, hence dropping an anchor. And it's been amazing. And NHL hockey to watch tonight. The Flames, by the way. Bob's your uncle.
Bob's your uncle.
I talked to talked to some of the Flames broadcast crew. They're not going to be here tonight. They're not traveling with the team. But they are very excited about the match tonight. And I'm on order here. Didn't even have this listed, this Flames Florida Panthers game tonight in my top 6 topics, Moose. But I will just say this. The Florida Panthers are looking for their 4th straight win. They've got 46 points. The Flames come in with 40 points. And we all know they're road warriors. Daryl Sutter's Calgary Flames 13-4-2 on the road. And initially, I thought, wow, one thing I'll be watching from the FLA Live Arena press box tonight is Sam Bennett facing his former team. Then I'm like, wait a minute. I better look this up. Went to the big board. Sam Bennett serving a 3-game suspension. To use the line from Slapshot, he's not playing, he's suspended. Although he did skate with the Panthers this morning in the morning skate. There will be no Sam Bennett versus the Calgary Flames, and that would have been a pretty interesting subplot to the game tonight. But either way, it's going to be a tremendous hockey game. The Flames think it's going to be a great measuring stick for them, and I can't wait. Moving on to point 2, I guess. The Pittsburgh Steelers on Monday Night Football kept their playoff hopes alive with a 26-14 win over the Cleveland Browns. Steelers quarterback Ben Roethlisberger threw for 123 yards only. It was no Picasso, Moose, in Big Ben's last game at Heinz Field, but he did throw a touchdown, had a pick. Pittsburgh now needs a win at Baltimore, and Indianapolis lost to Jacksonville to reach the postseason for the 12th time in Big Ben's 18 seasons. Now, I want to get to Antonio Brown here in the warm-up, but let's just spend a second on Week 17 in the National Football League because, yes, the Dallas Cowboys lost at home. I'm not sure there's a more Jekyll and Hyde team in the National Football League than the Dallas Cowboys, and that's not new. But your Tennessee Titans might be the same. But they showed the Miami Dolphins who were boss. They kicked the crap out of them. What was it, 35-3? What was the final? 34-3?
34-3.
And now they got the number 1 seed in the AFC, do they not? They came out of nowhere, the Tennessee Titans. They got to be clearly legitimate Super Bowl favorites, I would think.
Well, they're Super Bowl contenders, that's for sure. You know, you look at, I put out the top 5 this morning, and you look at, Green Bay, they haven't been that convincing, although they've been really good. Kansas City's been up and down. Tennessee now is the number 1 seed with Kansas City losing to Cincinnati. And they're getting healthy. The thing about Tennessee is they've had 88 different players in and out of the lineup that have played, the most in the National Football League. So nobody's dealt with the adversity that they have in terms of injuries and key injuries. Julio Jones, A.J. Brown, Derrick Henry have all been out. The offensive line's been depleted at times. Taylor Lewan's missed time. Now they're starting to get healthy. The running game with Dante Foreman's been better. And when Derrick Henry comes back, as early as this coming week, but probably the playoffs, yeah, they're going to be a contender. The Cowboys are interesting because you said Jekyll and Hyde. Absolutely. Like their offense just looks confused. They had 3 1,000-yard receivers. You don't see a blip of that. Ezekiel Elliott hasn't eclipsed 60 yards since like week 8. If they put it all together, they could be the number 1 team in the National Football League, but we have yet to see it. It's very confusing. So it's wild, and the Big Ben thing was really fun to watch last night. It wasn't a Picasso, you're right, but it was fitting because all that team has done is win, and it was cool. Obviously, the Mike Tomlin stat, 15 years coaching. He's never had a losing season. Big Ben's been around for that. It was a really cool, emotional thing, and I'm happy he got the win at home.
I'm just so darn happy to be back here talking sports with you and our fabulous viewers, reading the comments here. Mike Horgan watching in Toronto says, Happy New Year, RP Show, and fabulous viewers from all over the globe. 905 in the comments. He's checking in from the 905. Jamie Anstey in Nova Scotia says, if you want true Oilers talk, have Dustin Nielsen on from TSN 1260. He'll explain what the Oilers really need. I don't need to bring on Dustin Nielsen. I don't need to bring on anybody. I watched the game with my own 2 eyes, and I know exactly what the Edmonton Oilers need. It's a goalie. Now, Zach Nelson in Calgary is watching, and he says, well, the Flames made a coaching change, and it's worked out for them. Completely different story, completely different situation. And if all it took to turn around a slumping team was to fire the coach, every team would do it. Dave Tippett remains right now Actually, I want some audience participation on this. I still believe Dave Tippett is the best coach in the National Hockey League. I believe he is the best coach in the National Hockey League because my top three were Joel Quenneville, Mike Babcock, and Dave Tippett. Well, the other two are gone. So that leaves Dave Tippett. Now, somebody else tell me who is a better coach than Dave Tippett in the National Hockey League right now. I'll wait. And if you say Sheldon Keefe, I'm going to get up and walk out.
I wouldn't say that. I'm not going to say that. I'm trying to think of who would come to mind. Barry Trotz over a number of years. But
John Cooper. John Cooper, maybe.
Yes.
Not even maybe. Probably.
John Cooper, yeah.
But I don't think I know firing Dave Tippett is not the answer, and I don't need to bring on Dustin Nielsen or anybody else to tell me that. Anyways, we got 2 minutes left in the warm-up. I'm going to read this, and then we're going to come back in the next segment and kick into it a little more. And by the way, if you just joined us, Jeff Reinbold coming up in hour one and Craig Button in hour two. But Antonio Brown's latest messy departure from an NFL team, the Buccaneers, was not about an injury, according to head coach Bruce Arians. Yes, the Buccaneers are moving on from AB, whose NFL career is on hold yet again after another in a series of incidents, including 2 women accusing him of sexual assault back in 2019. But Bruce Arians dispelled the notion that Brown stormed off the field Sunday in New York after refusing to go back in because of an ankle injury that had sidelined him for several weeks. Twice, Bruce Arians was asked about Brown claiming he was hurt. Both times, the coach answered no, that Brown didn't tell him he was injured. And I quote, "It's pretty obvious what happened. He left the field, and that was it," Arians said, declining to elaborate on an exchange the coach said he had with the receiver on the sideline. Pressed for details on what was said and whether Brown claimed he was too injured to play, Arians replied, "We had a conversation," and he left the field. Asked what specifically was said that might move AB to react the way that he did, the coach added, "You have to ask him, brother. I don't have a clue." Now, he wouldn't be the first coach to lie. He clearly doesn't want to say what the conversation was all about. And I'm not necessarily saying Bruce Arians is lying. We all thought AB was being forced to go back into the game and he didn't want to because of this ankle injury. But Bruce Arians is saying that wasn't it. So there was something else. But I wasn't watching that game. I was watching something else. So my phone blows up saying, "Are you watching what's going on with AB in MetLife?" Right? I'm like, "No, I'm not. What? And then I see this and I'm like, here we go again. You've been watching the ESPN shows that talk about the mental health aspect of Antonio Brown, and everybody's saying, I saw Jesse Palmer say it on TSN Sports Center this morning, he needs help, go get help. Look, we don't have time here to get into that. We'll get into it next segment. I'll just simply say our poll question today for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center is, will Antonio Brown play in the NFL again? And the last I look, I'm running it on Instagram, the poll. We're running it on Twitter, obviously. Clark, do you have a YouTube update on the stats on that or no? If not, it was like over 70% on YouTube say no, over 80% on Instagram say no, and it's around there on Twitter. I would say landslide majority saying no, Antonio Brown never plays in the NFL again. I voted yes. And to quote Gary Echeverry, will this stay, Darren? No. Never's a long time. And usually he has a pencil tucked behind his ear and his glasses down on his. Never's a long time. So he's only 33 years of age. He's now got Super Bowl credentials. He was a big factor in the Super Bowl game last year. I think AB comes back. But we'll kick that around. I want to know who's a better coach in the NHL than Dave Tippett. I want to know that from the viewers. So we've got a lot of topics on the table. We're just getting rolling. We will be right back. It is episode number 646 of your favorite daytime sports talk show. The RP Show continues after this on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, and 24-hour sports radio at rodpedersen.com.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall. Or you might hit your head. That could cause a traumatic brain injury that, depending on how severe it is, could take months to heal or leave you with long-term effects. Effects like getting debilitating headaches for the rest of your life. Slips, trips, and falls can have a lifetime impact. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
People donate blood for moments like this.
But there are lots of reasons why Canada's Lifeline needs donors every day.
Like the fact that someone with leukemia can need up to 8 units of blood a week.
Or that donated blood lasts no longer than 42 days.
Or to help new moms and babies, like Henry.
There's lots of reasons to donate blood. That's why we need donors every day.
The need for blood is constant. Join Toyota and our Toyota dealers in supporting Canada's Lifeline.
A legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep.
A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games. Play among legends at betregal.net.
A new year means a new you. Pick up a new ride to match at Capital GMC for 2022. Custom order the perfect vehicle for you, or reserve a unit that's already on its way. Get into a GM certified pre-owned vehicle that's on our lot and ready to roll. We need your used vehicle too. We pay big and you don't even have to buy from us. Plus, our service department is always here to help. Get special pricing on name brand tires, tire storage, maintenance, and more. And we always offer free vehicle pickup and delivery. Start the new year right at Capital GMC in Regina.
Hey, Matt, how's it going? We have something really special.
Holy, it's pretty impressive.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpedersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpedersenshop.com.
Hey, honey, can you get one of the kids to show me how this Twitter thing works? Honey, I need to get on Instagram. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
Welcome back, everybody. The RP Show continues. One half in sunny South Florida, the other in the NHL's Bermuda Triangle, where I understand there was a big snow dump last night. Before we go any further, I want to tell you folks, addiction, it destroys lives, families, and relationships. But the good news is, addiction is a treatable illness. At Aurora Recovery Center, we provide everything you need to build a solid foundation for your recovery with holistic, evidence-based treatment tailored to each individual. Located in Gibli, Manitoba, on the shores of Lake Winnipeg, Aurora can help regardless of whether or not you feel ready or have tried before. Aurora Recovery Center, recovery for life. Visit their website, aurorarecoverycenter.com. Recovery works. I'm living proof. Okay, Moose. Before we jump into the Antonio Brown stuff, and we have text messages that have come in asking us about that.
Nice.
We have breaking news today. And it's not good. From the Western Hockey League. The Western Hockey League announced today the pausing of team activities for the Edmonton Oil Kings, Moose Jaw Warriors, and Red Deer Rebels as a result of multiple players and staff being added to the WHL COVID-19 protocol list due to exhibiting symptoms or having tested positive for COVID-19. And I got an email from God's team yesterday, the Regina Pats, that their media availability, Zoom, albeit, was canceled because of a player going into COVID protocol with the Regina Pats. So there's that. More breaking news. This is uplifting for me anyways. I'm going to read verbatim, Moose. For the first time in history, professional bull riders, Canada's Elite Cup Series, will travel to Regina, Saskatchewan, debuting inside the Brandt Centre on June 22nd with the PBR Regina Classic. PBR Canada's Cup Series regularly features Canada's best bull riders, alongside some of the league's top international athletes, squaring off against the rankest bucking bulls from across the nation. So mark it down, June 22nd in the Brandt Centre, PBR Canada stopping in the sweatpants capital. Now,
right on.
Back to business. Right on. Alex texting in to the 902 line. Alex from the Game Plus control room says, morning, Rod. Sunny Florida looks like a nice place to be. Telling you again, it's a dreamland. It's paradise. It's the greatest. Alex says, question for you. Antonio Brown. That's it. Have a nice day, Roddy. Thank you, Alex. That's like he just pulled the pin in the grenade. Here you go. So, as a certified mental health professional as I am, I've just been sitting back and watching. Sometimes I think Antonio Brown has minimal problems compared to everybody else. Like, did you see Tom Brady come out? I think he was on his radio show or his podcast yesterday, that he said that Antonio Brown, what he needs is compassion from people, not ridicule and scorn. And a headline came across my notifications from USA Today. Tom Brady says Antonio Brown needs compassion. Is he right? Well, of course he's right. And this, with his meltdown at MetLife Stadium on Sunday, is nothing compared to some of the things he pulled with both the Oakland Raiders and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Nothing compared to that. Didn't Vince Young disrobe on his way off the field in Tennessee, in Nashville, and throw his gear into the crowd after a game? Didn't that happen?
I don't remember that, but I'd have to look it up.
Google it.
I will.
It was a fight with Jeff Fisher. But again, just watching the reaction from people has been very interesting. Bobby Dice, the special teams coordinator with the Ottawa Red Blacks CFL team, saying on Twitter, I don't know if you saw that, says a lot of people commenting on Antonio Brown will be tweeting Bell Let's Talk in a couple weeks. So he's 33 years of age, as I said. He's lived the life of a 90-year-old, the things that he's been through. And trust me, I know the feeling.
Yeah.
But Jesse Palmer said on the Monday Morning Quarterback on TSN Sports Center this morning, I don't know if you saw it, that AB's done because he can't be trusted. But he was trusted last year with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He was a model citizen, big part of their Super Bowl champion team. And there's a lot of bad teams in the NFL. That's why I think we have not. If Michael Vick can serve, what, he served 2 years in jail and come back and play? I think AB can. What do you think?
That's the question. And that's the question that John Gruden and Mike Mayock had to answer in Oakland/Vegas. It's a question that Bill Belichick had to answer in New England, Tom Brady and Bruce Arians in Tampa Bay. Can he add to our team? And can he not be a distraction? And can we accomplish something? Will he benefit our team positively or negatively? And that's still the case going forward. Every team has to decide that. And we need compassion. We need to understand the mental health side of this. But when you're looking at a job from an employer's point of view or from a business point of view, you're bringing in Antonio Brown to do a job. And if mental health is an issue and it's something that needs to be taken care of, you treat that the same way as you would an ankle injury or a knee injury or a rib injury. You know, Can you manage it? Can you take treatment for it? Can you play through it and be an effective member of the team? Or is the injury too much that you need to leave and go and take care of it, get surgery or get the help you need, and then be able to come back? Or can you never recover from it to be a contributing member of the football team? So just because, people are talking about compassion and mental health doesn't mean you should be given a free pass onto the next organization. You need to treat this the same way as any other injury. Can it be managed? Can he play with it? Can he be a positive member of the team? And right now, the Bucs don't think that that's the case.
Well, if we want to get into the mental health thing, 1 in 5 people will battle mental health issues in their lifetime, and that's reported cases. Wow. 1 in 5. It's probably, a lot of us in the industry feel 3 out of 5 will battle it. A lot of people battle it and don't even know what they're battling. So I'm on AB's side. In this instance, he hasn't hurt anybody but himself. Guy's hurting. Jack Fulton in Alberta watching, he says, I love and respect Tom Brady for standing in the crosshairs to defend Antonio Brown. That's a leader. AB needs to be built up, not torn down, sooner than later. Darren Workman watching in Salt Lake City, Utah says, the teams in the NFL are too impatient to have compassion for AB. They want him to just catch the ball and score TDs. And actually, that's a really good point. There's so much of this that we don't know. And Darren, thanks for pointing that out, because I was dealing with a very, very high-profile person. And I called his boss, because eventually they'd had enough of my recovery client and they got rid of him. And I called his boss and I said, this guy has fulfilled every obligation you made him do. You should be bringing him back. And he's like, Rod, stop. We've been around the mulberry bush for years with this guy. You're just getting on board now. So that's their right. That's their right as the employer. I just think AB got his act together for a year, but sometimes it is very difficult for people to change. But anyways, I'm going to move on, if that's okay with you. John Ohm, watching in Edmonton, says, have you guys talked about, here it is. John in Edmonton, have you guys talked about the Russian team on the airplane? No, we haven't, and we won't. Team Russia's a bunch of bad actors. This is news. Moving on. Actually, it's a good segue into point 4. World Junior Hockey Championship canceled. Well, speaking simply as a fan, I can say that it completely threw a wrench into all of our holiday plans down here in South Florida. Having parties planned for New Year's Eve and, Canada-U.S. games potentially. And then this happens. It was brutal. Because, listen, for millions of Canadians and dozens of Americans, the World Junior Hockey Championship is the highlight of their year. It's what the Christmas holidays for them are largely all about, aside from the religious portion of it. And then to sit there and watch James Duthie and Bob McKenzie, it was like they were broadcasting from a morgue. You probably watched it from their set at Rogers Place. And they brought in Luke Tardif, the head of the IIHF, the French guy.
Yep.
He looked like he wanted to jump off the set. Like, when they talked about playing it in, my favorite part of the whole thing was when Duthie said, well, if you play this in June, aren't you afraid of going up against the Stanley Cup playoffs for ratings? And he was like, yesterday, I didn't even know we were going to have to do this.
Right.
The guy was completely exasperated. And my thing is, the coaches were mad, the players were mad, and I think they were allowed to get it off their chest without penalty. But yeah, I just think you can't get mad at the sporting leagues or the organizers. It's not them. They don't want to do this. But man, was that a kick in the nards.
It really was. It really was. It was tough. And, we talked all along of, is this virus and this variant Omicron, going so crazy and so much worse than the original that it's shutting all these things down. And, we also hear that people aren't getting as sick, and maybe that's because we're vaccinated and all these other things. But, now we're seeing the reports of what was really going on in Red Deer. Now, again, what really was going on, whereas there are crowded restaurants and crowded hotels and weddings happening and all these things. To me, it's just taking your foot off the gas, and if the teams are coming in and thinking that COVID's not a thing and you take your foot off the gas, then players are going to catch COVID. I mean, they had a hub last year, the bubble, and it was fine, right, in Edmonton. And I think you had some protocols set in place, but we kind of thought we're on the backside of this. Things are going to happen no matter what, and you take your foot off the gas. I mean, all it would have taken is just a little more responsibility, and that's the disappointing part, because it seemed like we didn't hear about the cases with the Canadian team. It seemed like they were doing their job to make sure that they were able to play the games and get through the World Juniors. But these other countries weren't, and when you start to do that and you start to be a little bit reckless, these are the things that happened, and it's super disappointing.
Jennifer from the Four Seasons watching, she says, my New Year's Eve was ruined. Join the club, sister. That's 4 points through our quick 6 show topics. We got 2 more to go. I got written down here, CFL stuff. This blossoming Chris Jones-Cody Fajardo feud. It's the CFL's next best feud, next great feud, it would seem. Brendan Taman joining the Ottawa Red Blacks, plus a lot of personnel guys that nobody knows their names, but they're friends of mine, Chad Hudson being one going. We'll talk about that. Jeff Reinbold's on the move, and he's going to join us next. But he is joining us actually to talk about the National Football League. But it's funny, next Monday, we'll be broadcasting the show for the first of 2 straight weeks at Grey Eagle Resort and Casino just outside Calgary. And there will be a lot of CFL talk from there, a lot of Stampeders talk, a lot of NHL talk. And you asked me if I would find a big adjustment going from noon Eastern to going on the air at 10 Mountain. And I'd be honest with you, I embrace it, Darren, because it's a long day sitting around here waiting till noon to get on the air. Whereas when we're on the air in Calgary, it'll be get up, have a coffee, and go. Yeah. Which is exactly what Jeff Reinbold's doing when he joins us from Hawaii next. So, Moose, we'll see you in hour 2, and we'll pick up on all this. Cool?
See you then.
Jeff Reinbold joins us next live from the Big Island. You're watching the RP Show. Daytime sports talk coming to you from South Florida and the NHL's Bermuda Triangle on the Game Plus television network, YouTube Live, and 24-hour sports radio at rodpedersen.com.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Comfort has always been something we, as people, strive for. It means that the places we live and work, and that the people we care most about, are able to go about their lives, focusing on the things that matter. Our focus at Flame Tech has remained the same for more than 20 years. Now more than ever, we need each other to support our local businesses. As an industry leader in combustion services, we are proud to attend to the needs of our communities and support the local economy.
Hey, Matt, how's it going? We have something really special.
Holy, it's pretty impressive.
A new year means a new you. Pick up a new ride to match at Capital Ford for 2022. Custom order the perfect vehicle for you, or check out our in-stock F-150s on the lot right now. Get into a pre-owned vehicle that's already on the lot and ready to roll. We need your used vehicle too. We pay big and you don't even have to buy from us. Plus, our service department is always here to help. Get special pricing on name brand tires, tire storage, maintenance, and more. And we always offer free vehicle pickup and delivery. Start the new year right at Capital Ford Lincoln in Regina.
A legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep.
A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games. Play among legends at betregal.net.
Some of the challenges we face with the CT technology that we have today is some of the deficiencies in around integration with some of our other systems. The addition of 2 new 4D simulators within the programming at the Saskatchewan Cancer Agency is going to have significant impact on the care we provide to the people of Saskatchewan.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. Rockstar can operate your entire supply chain, from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the Rockstar Buying Group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at rockstar.com.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Did you know you can catch all the best moments from the show on all our social media platforms? Now, back to the studio with Rod.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Just ahead of Jeff Reinbold, we do have more breaking news. The Edmonton Elks announcing this morning they've made it official. They have hired Stephen McAdoo, Jarius Jackson, and Marcus Howell to their offensive staff. Meanwhile, flipping it over to the NFL, Chris Jarl is watching in Surrey, BC on Game Plus TV regarding AB. He says, I don't think the Bucs will officially cut him. He may be stuck in limbo for a while. As of this morning, Antonio Brown was still Tampa Bay Buccaneers property, just not on their roster. And our poll question today is, will AB ever play in the NFL again? It's between 70 and 80% saying no on all our various platforms where you can vote. So let's bring in Jeff Reinbold there, if you don't mind, NFL analyst for Sky Sports. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing great, Rod. Hey, listen, I see that palm tree, and I'll raise you a mango and a papaya tree.
I'll have to do some thinking. How about some guava? I had that for the first time, Coach. You got guava over there?
We got plenty of guava over here, man. How are you doing? How's things in Florida?
Things are amazing. It was a little chilly today. I had to put socks on, Coach. I'm not going to lie. It was annoying me. But we're loving life, and I've got NHL hockey to watch tonight, too. And the Dolphins finally had their winning streak snapped on Sunday, so everybody's talking about that. But you know what? I said the NFL is where we would open. Do you think – how are you voting on whether AB plays in the NFL ever again or not?
Well, I don't have a vote, but I'll tell you what. The thing I think people need to understand is that right now what AB needs isn't football. What AB needs is help, and I think he needs to get his mental situation straightened out. But that's going to require him to, want the help. You can have all the programs, you can have all the player support, and the NFL does. It's got layers and layers and layers of it. But until an athlete or until a human being feels like they actually need the help and are willing to go through the process, because it's Rod, it's not an easy process, and it's not fun, and it's a lot of work. But, I'm concerned about the human being more than I'm concerned about the wide receiver. He has the ability to play in the National Football League. And we have to remember that pro football is a business, and, their business is to win football games, and they're going to do what they need to do, put the best product on the field to give them a chance to win. Now, does that mean he's going to get another opportunity? My bet would be he will get another opportunity. The thing that's looming out there that we're uncertain about is, when he faked that vaccine passport, that's a federal offense. And where he sits with all that and where the league sits with all that, I don't know. I can't tell you that.
Yeah, for sure. And he's starting to get a fairly long list of offenses. And I'm with you. He needs the help, but he needs to pursue it. Hey, on the field, let me ask you this. Just watching the Browns last night and their struggles and Baker Mayfield being sacked 9 times. Are they the biggest disappointment in the NFL this year? Like, they were top 5 projected going in, and they're going to miss the playoffs. Or is it somebody else who's been the biggest disappointment in the NFL this year?
Well, I think certainly they got to be one of the biggest disappointments, Rob, because everything you talked about is correct. Here's Kevin Stefanski last year gets voted Coach of the Year. This year, they're howling for his job in Cleveland right now. And it's amazing how that thing imploded. When you look at it, it was the perfect storm. They had injuries. along the offensive line, along the defensive line. They had COVID situations both in the playing, part of the program and also the coaching aspect. They lost Stefanski wasn't at a couple games. It just was awful. And then you have on top of it the drama with OBJ and OBJ's father, and Baker Mayfield, and Mayfield gets hurt, and it just seems like everything that could go wrong in Cleveland went wrong. And that's how easy it is to go from first to worst. And I think it's hard for people to understand. It is a battle every day, and you can be anointed like the Browns were as the team that was going to run, the AFC North, and then all it takes is a few situations during the course of the season, and you're fighting for your life, and they just weren't able to overcome those things.
Well, it's a long list, I guess, of disappointments. The general watching in Calgary says the Giants are the biggest disappointment, but let's talk about something positive, I guess. And at the other end of the scale, the Green Bay Packers are sitting there right now with a bye on the opening weekend of NFL playoffs. John in Winnipeg wants your thoughts on if Aaron Rodgers will be the MVP again, given all he's been through this year.
I tell you what, to me, that guy is the best player in the National Football League. And, he does it hurt. He does it in bad weather. He does it with depleted receiving core. He does it, historically, he's done it without a very good defense around him. And now this year, I think they can be Super Bowl champions. I really think Green Bay has a great opportunity because for the first time, they're starting to play a little defense. And, AR just is amazing, Rod. If you gave me one quarterback to go play one drive at the end of a game to win the football game, I wouldn't think twice. Not Mahomes, not Josh Allen, not any of those guys. It would be Aaron Rodgers. I think he's proven it time and time and time again.
I got to ask you this because it may take a while for you to answer. The Dallas Cowboys. And thank you, by the way, for lining us up with Brian Baldinger. Where are you two boys from? Where'd you get to be such good friends with Baldy?
Baldy, actually, after his playing career was over, he retired. He has a home in Philadelphia, and he was working in Philadelphia. He would go over to the NFL Network studios, which are in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And he'd go over there and he'd just hang around, and he wanted to get into broadcasting. And so that's when I first, was introduced to him. And then he came over and did for Fox, much like Troy Aikman and Moose Johnson and a number of guys came over to NFL Europe, and Fox Sports used NFL Europe as kind of a place for young broadcasters to cut their teeth. Jason Garrett was a young broadcaster. He had plans at one point of going into the media. And so all of those guys would come over and they would stay for a month at a time. And I got to know Baldy that way. Baldy loves life, and much like me. And so we were a pair in Europe as two young single guys, and we had a lot of fun together.
Well, I could see that you, namaste, the light in him recognizes the light in you, and I'd like to throw myself in there if I could. But I love talking Cowboys with him, and I'm going to talk Cowboys with you. An enigmatic football team that 1 minute I think is going to the Super Bowl and the next thinks should be missing the playoffs. I mean, how do you see this season unfolding for the Dallas Cowboys? Are they going to implode in the playoffs like they always do?
Rod, I'm with you 100% on this one. I was ready going into last week, the Cardinal game. I was ready to anoint them, the NFC Super Bowl contender, all right, if you would. They in Green Bay. And then they go out, and the first half of that game against Arizona was awful. Offensively, just they couldn't get out of their own way. And then they come back in the second half and make it a great game and really should have won the game. But, you can't be that inconsistent. And you look at them over time, and it's always been the same thing. Just when you want to say they're back, they'll go out and lay an egg like that. And you know as well as I do, when you get into playoff football and you're playing against the top level of competition every week, you can't have a bad half or you're going to get stung along the way. Now, will they learn from this? We'll see. But, historically, they've been a team that, as they say in Texas, is all hat and no cattle.
Absolutely. Well, and then Michael Gallup's done for the year. And I was like, let's just get to the playoffs healthy and we'll go from there. And they can't even do that. The fans all want to know, Coach. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, you go the week previous and, they look like Super Bowl champions. All three phases of their football team were dominant. And then and Arizona's the same way. I mean, Arizona is so inconsistent offensively, but then they, like I say, they have a chance to really put their stamp on the NFC and just can't get it done. So I think, I'm not ready to say that. If you ask me Packers or Cowboys right now, I'm going to tell you Packers.
Yeah, and I'm not going to argue. Can't argue. And it's always the Packers. Anyways, the fans want to know if you can divulge your future plans here after your news with the Tiger Cats last week, by the way. And congrats on a great run with the Tabbies. And we all kind of want to know what's next. How are you doing with all that?
I'm doing great. What's next is I'm going to have another cup of coffee after we're done. Then I'm going to head for the beach and then and see if I can get a little better on my surfboard today. You know what, Rod? It's been really interesting. Since I made that decision, the phone has really, surprisingly, there have been a number of people who have reached out, both in 4-down football and down south and, in 3-down football up in Canada. So we're going to take some time. We're going to look at it. I basically, the way I handle it is I just give when somebody calls, I say, thank you for the interest. And then I pass them on to my agent, Paul Sheehy in Denver, who's outstanding. And, he'll wade through all of that and do what agents do. And then we'll make a decision about which way we want to go.
Good for you. Well, it's quite a way to live for sure. And I can see that you're enjoying it. You got to follow folks, Jeff Reinbold on Instagram, because it's like a travel account. I love it. And it's like tourism Hawaii.
You got to get them to where you need to go is a coffee with Coach, because every week we chop it up just like this. Now we're a low budget operation compared to the Rod Pedersen Show, but
right.
You got to come on now. I've been on your show enough times. It's time you come on my show and we'll have some fun.
I love it. I've written in questions in the past, but there's so many viewers. Sometimes they get lost in the shuffle. It's very popular. Coach, they're telling me we got to run. Mahalo? Whatever it is. Aloha. I appreciate the time. All right. All the best, my friend.
All right, Rod. Thank you very much. Enjoy.
We'll be talking NFL with Coach Reinbold next week. We'll be right back with Viewer Takeover. You are watching the RP Show on Game Plus Television, YouTube Live, and 24-hour sports radio at rodpedersen.com.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
A new year means a new you. Pick up a new ride to match at Capital Ford for 2022. Custom order the perfect vehicle for you, or check out our in-stock F-150s on the lot right now. Get into a pre-owned vehicle that's already on the lot and ready to roll. We need your used vehicle too. We pay big and you don't even have to buy from us. Plus, our service department is always here to help. Get special pricing on name brand tires, tire storage, maintenance, and more. And we always offer free vehicle pickup and delivery. Start the new year right at Capital Ford Lincoln in Regina.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. Rockstar can operate your entire supply chain, from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the Rockstar Buying Group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at rockstar.com.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Comfort has always been something we, as people, strive for. It means that the places we live and work, and that the people we care most about, are able to go about their lives focusing on the things that matter. Our focus at FlameTech has remained the same for more than 20 years. Now more than ever, we need each other to support our local businesses. As an industry leader in combustion services, we are proud to attend to the needs of our communities and support the local economy.
Addiction. It destroys relationships, families, and lives. It makes individuals and the people who love them feel powerless. But the good news is that addiction is a treatable illness. At Aurora Recovery Center, we provide everything you need to build a solid foundation for your recovery, with holistic, evidence-based treatment tailored to each individual. Located in Gimli, Manitoba, on the shores of Lake Winnipeg, Aurora can help regardless of whether or not you feel ready or have tried before. Aurora Recovery Center. Recovery for life. Visit aurorarecoverycenter.com for more information today.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's a pleasure to be with you for another day as we open a brand new year. It's our first show of 2022. And it's just been a pleasure. And I thank Jeff Reinbold for coming on. He's going to be a regular NFL analyst for us. But I got to be honest, he just said to follow Coffee with the Coach. Go do that on Instagram because Jeff does it every Sunday and he sits there in Hawaii and takes questions, usually previewing the NFL games, but he'll answer CFL questions too. Coffee with the Coach, and it's outstanding. And if you don't come away feeling good after a discussion with Jeff Reinbold, something's wrong with you. Anyways, it is Taco Time Viewer Takeover. We don't have a lot of time for it. Every Tuesday is Taco Tuesday. That's today. For only $2 each, the only question you have is hard or soft shell, beef or veggie. 1 minute remaining in hour one. They tell me. So yeah, beginning next Monday, we will be back in Canada, broadcasting live from Grey Eagle Resort and Casino in Calgary, and I will be all over Taco Time. Okay, I guess we're starting it's a new week, so we're starting the contest. Carlos, watching in Indianapolis, says Antonio Brown and Bruce Arians got into an argument about tacos, and it clearly got a bit spicy. There you go. Well, hey, it's not a great one, but right now it's the best we got. Carlos's comment. Hey, the General in Calgary says, pumped for tonight's Flames-Panthers game, Rod. Hoping for a good tilt. We'll talk about that next hour. When the Moose comes back in, we'll be right back after this break on Game Plus TV and YouTube Live.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
People donate blood for moments like this.
But there are lots of reasons why Canada's Lifeline needs donors every day.
Like the fact that someone with leukemia can need up to 8 units of blood a week.
Or that donated blood lasts no longer than 42 days.
Or to help new moms and babies, like Henry.
There's lots of reasons to donate blood. That's why we need donors every day.
The need for blood is constant. Join Toyota and our Toyota dealers in supporting Canada's Lifeline.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might sprain your wrist, or even fracture it. A severe wrist fracture can take at least 2 months to heal properly. And it can cause you to develop arthritis that keeps you from doing something as simple as picking up your child without pain. Slips, trips, and falls can have a lifetime impact. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Hey, Dawn.
Hey, Quinn.
We have a surprise for you.
Oh, my.
Addiction. It destroys relationships, families, and lives. It makes individuals and the people who love them feel powerless. But the good news is that addiction is a treatable illness. At Aurora Recovery Center, we provide everything you need to build a solid foundation for your recovery, with holistic, evidence-based treatment tailored to each individual. Located in Gimli, Manitoba, on the shores of Lake Winnipeg, Aurora can help regardless of whether or not you feel ready or have tried before. Aurora Recovery Center. Recovery for life. Visit aurorarecoverycenter.com for more information today.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpedersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpedersenshop.com.
I was at a table with referees. This is like a room full of accountants.
Spicy.
And they asked about Connor Bedard, and they laughed. Remember that night that I yelled in the bubble at Bob? Great call, Bobby! I yelled at the referee because he called a penalty shot in favor of the Regina Pats.
Well, it's an empty arena, so like your voice will just echo and echo and echo. Yeah, they heard you for sure. That was pretty funny.
Good call, Bobby!
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
It absolutely is, and welcome to Hour 2 of the RP Show, everybody. It's brought to you by Great Western Brewing Company and Great Western Original 16 beer. Still feeling good from the chat with Jeff Reinbold in Hour 1. If you're just joining us here in Hour 2 on Game Plus TV or YouTube Live, the CFL iconic coach who left the Hamilton Tiger Cats last week, telling us last hour that for now he's enjoying life in Hawaii. His agent is talking to teams, and he'll have an announcement in the near future. Coming up here in Hour 2, we'll be joined by TSN Director of Scouting Craig Button for all things hockey. But we've got the Moose back, and seems like so long since you've been back with us, Moose. How's the last 20 minutes been for you, son?
It's been great. Back to almost back to normal, which is kind of crazy if we even have normal around here.
Well, speaking of normal, listen, I got this monitor set up behind the lights that you gave me, so I'm trying to sort of see what you have on your ears. Were you wearing those in Hour 1? What is that?
I know. It's monstrous. In the holiday, doing shows from home, on the road, in the high school, my earbuds, nice and clean and tidy, they're at home in the road kit. And I got the big cans on, right, in the studio here. So we'll be back to business tomorrow.
Okay, I was wondering what was the deal if somebody had given those to you for Christmas and you felt you had to try them on or something.
They're my favorite. I've never taken them off since Christmas Day.
Well, they look very comfortable.
Okay.
Right now, Carlos in Indianapolis is leading in the Taco Time comment of the week. It hasn't been much, but it's still the leader in the Clubhouse right now. As we're starting a brand new week of contests, $50 gift card goes out to the comment of the week from our friends at Taco Time Canada. By the way, it's Taco Tuesday here in America too, by the way. It's selected restaurants. Hang on. There's a lot of football talk. Ryan H. watching on YouTube says AB, Antonio Brown, will find his way back to the NFL, but might stop in the USFL on the way. Would you want him on your CFL team? Listen, this isn't what I wanted to talk about, but I'll just drop this now. I'll just say this. There's far, far, far worse dudes come through the Canadian Football League than Antonio Brown. And played and stayed, believe me. But the money's different now than what it was, obviously, 70s, 80s, 90s. I mean, Antonio Brown doesn't need the money. And Darren, it just kind of, I got the sense after watching his antics the other day that he might be done with football. Let's think about that for a second. Is there any chance maybe that Antonio Brown isn't enjoying football anymore?
Absolutely.
That may factor into what happened on Sunday.
Absolutely, it might. You know, you got to look at this too. You don't often see when you truly love something, you don't do it for money. And even when you don't, I mean, you rarely are thinking about money when you're doing a job or when you're playing the game, right?
Shouldn't be.
I mean, Antonio Brown clearly wasn't thinking about money because he was a smidge away from $1 million in incentives, right? 3 separate $333,000 bonuses. He wasn't thinking about that because he would say, well, I'll play one more game, then I'll have a tantrum and quit, right? So it's not about money. So if your guy wants to play football, he'll come north and play. You know, The Rock, not that we want to go down this road, but was just on social media yesterday being really excited that it's 1 year till XFL training camps open. That might be a landing spot for Antonio Brown, too. Who knows? If he wants to play football, I'm sure there'll be a door open for him to play football. If he doesn't, then he'll never play again.
Okay, so I said, I knew it. I said when we went to air an hour ago that we were going to take an off-ramp to Nowheresville.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where we are. And I know that a lot of our viewers want us to get to hockey, and we will right away. But a couple things here. John Ohm in Winnipeg says, my final words on Antonio Tavares Brown. It's okay if you fall apart sometimes. Tacos fall apart, and we still love them.
Spicy.
Give AB some tacos. From my cousin Christine in Medicine Hat. She says, you're going to freak when you return to Canada, Rod. It's so cold. It was minus 51 in Brooks last Tuesday, and it hasn't warmed up much. Well, listen, Chris, you do what you have to do to put food on the table, and that's what I'm going to do. But the other thing is, I've told you for a week I couldn't wait to get back on the air, and we hadn't had a holiday in a year.
I know.
We hadn't had a day off in a year since last Christmas, and I couldn't wait to get back to work. And I think people are starting to come around to it, and it doesn't really matter whether they ever came around to it, but I'm watching these documentaries on John Madden, and my God, there's probably been a half a dozen of them that have aired. But they showed after his passing last week at age 85, Madden's news conference when he retired as the head coach of the Oakland Raiders. He wasn't an old man at that time. It was 40 years ago. He's in his mid-40s, and he said, I gave it all I had. I don't want to do it anymore. And I was sitting there watching it going, again, namaste.
Right.
It's like me and play-by-play. I don't want to do it anymore. I gave it everything I had for 30 years, and I don't want to do it anymore. I want to do this. And it took John Madden to sum it up. Anyways, enough about that. And from Patrolman Pete in Winnipeg, says, who were the all-time worst dudes in the CFL, Rod? Dish. It ain't that hard. Google it. Lawrence Phillips, former Montreal Alouette, killed a woman. James Curry, Saskatchewan Roughriders, killed another person. I think might have been, I don't even want to say who. I think it was his former wife. Antonio Brown's never killed anybody yet. But Antonio Brown would only come to the CFL for one reason, because he loved to play football. And it doesn't look like he loves to play football anymore. So that. The featured game, Darren, there are 8 in the National Hockey League. And I guess by the way, breaking news that we dropped last hour, there were 3 teams in the Western Hockey League who have been paused because of COVID. Team activities. One was the Moose Jaw Warriors. One was the Red Deer Rebels. And I'm sorry, do you remember the third?
Edmonton Oil
I got
Kings?
it right here.
Edmonton Oil Kings.
Was it Edmonton?
Yeah.
Oil Kings, Warriors, and Rebels. Yeah. So I had my 6th point written down here as COVID/sports, and I don't really want to get into any of that because I'm not sitting here in Florida going, nana, nana, boo, boo, looking at people in Canada freezing their asses off and the game's all paused. I'm not relishing in any of that. What I do want to talk about is who is playing. And there are 8 games in the National Hockey League tonight. I'm going to go through the schedule, and you tell me who your featured game is because my featured game's pretty easy. It's 27 miles from where I am right now. Sunrise, Florida, the Florida Panthers against the Calgary Flames. But elsewhere tonight, it's the Devils at the Bruins, the Lightning at the Blue Jackets, the Sharks at the Red Wings, Colorado at Chicago, Winnipeg at Arizona. How about that? Philadelphia at Anaheim, and Nashville at Vegas. By the way, has anybody looked who's leading the Western Conference? Oh, yeah. Vegas. Postponed tonight, Washington at Montreal and the Islanders at Seattle. And there's in the NBA tonight, there's a lot of games, but the featured game as far as we're concerned in the NBA, San Antonio Spurs at Toronto Raptors. And the bowl games aren't done yet, don't you know? The Texas Bowl goes tonight, Kansas State versus LSU.
I did not think you were going to mention the Texas Bowl, and I thought I was going to go off the board, and that was going to be my game of the night, but I can't get anything past you. For me, it's the Texas Bowl tonight.
LSU versus Kansas State. So that's your game, hey? That's the one you're going to be watching?
Yeah, that's the one I'm going to be watching tonight. I'll probably, the Flames and Panthers will have my attention too.
You'll be watching on Sportsnet Flames, Sportsnet West, and you'll be looking for me.
Yes.
Okay, listen, sorry to say, but the Flames, the Senators, some of these aren't the biggest draws. Like the Panthers have that ticket package that you could get 4 tickets in the lower bowl plus 4 drinks, 4 hot dogs, 4 popcorn, and an Alexander Barkov jersey for like $250 for selected midweek games. From a marketing standpoint, if you're the Florida Panthers, tonight is a throwaway game. Not from a hockey standpoint, but from a marketing standpoint. It's like, it's Calgary, it's Tuesday.
Yeah.
But I'll be there watching because we're going to be in Calgary starting Monday for 2 weeks, and I want to get the lowdown on the Flames and see exactly what they're doing because it's not the same watching them on television versus in person, as you know. Free Oleg watching in Winnipeg says featured game Jets and Coyotes. Scheifele and Kessel put on a back-checking clinic. Scheifele's better at it than Patrick Laine was. I will say this. Did you watch any of the Winnipeg Jets Vegas Golden Knights game the other night?
I did not, unfortunately. I just saw the highlights.
I did. When I turned it on, the Jets were up 5-3, and then the Golden Knights roared back and took it to overtime, and then the Jets ended up winning in overtime. And I'm like, we talked with Jeff Reinbold about Jekyll and Hyde NFL teams, and he agrees that the Dallas Cowboys are number 1. I almost think that the Winnipeg Jets are the NHL's version of an Jekyll and Hyde team, and they're not in a playoff spot right now, by the way. But then they go into Vegas, and they should have won it in regulation. They should have won it in regulation. I wonder how this plays out for the Winnipeg Jets with their new coach, Dave Lowry, or their interim coach. Like the way they played the other night, I was like, you know what? Maybe Paul Maurice was onto something. He was the problem. I don't know how long it lasts.
Yeah, I don't know either. I really don't. It'll be up to Kevin Cheveldayoff to find out, what he thinks of this hockey team. If he thinks it's a playoff team, if he thinks it's a team that can win a Stanley Cup, then he's got to make a decision if Dave Lowry is the guy that can get him in the playoffs. It's about urgency, right? If they think, okay, this team needs a reset here, then he can get through the year If they get in, great. But if they don't, not the end of the world, and then look ahead to next year. But if they think it's now, if the window is now, then he's got to figure out what to do at that spot.
Scott Stanley, watching in St. Albert, Alberta on Game Plus TV, says, hey, Rod, do you think Reinbold ends up with the Elks? It's a good question. I wouldn't write it off. Consider this. Today, the Edmonton Elks announced some additions to their coaching staff, to Chris Jones' staff. I don't know what their titles are specifically, but Jarius Jackson, Stephen McAdoo, and Marcus Howell have all joined that group. Craig Dickinson was always the special teams guy in the Jones Army, but that's not happening. He's the head coach in Saskatchewan, so clearly they're looking for a special teams coach. I could very easily see Jeff Reinbold go to Edmonton. Some people have been asking me in the football world if I thought he would go to Saskatchewan, and I don't, because just because of funding or lack thereof. Craig Dickinson's doing a pretty good job, I would suggest, of handling the special teams and the head coaching duties. And that's, if there was a day that he was tired of doing that, then yeah. I think it takes a lot of balls for Jeff Reinbold to do what he did last week and just say, hey, when you know, you know. And Jeff Reinbold knew that his time was up in Hamilton, declined the offer to return, and he will be coaching somewhere in 2022. For those that missed it last hour, Jeff Reinbold said he's enjoying his time in Hawaii right now, sifting through offers. His agent's talking to teams. He'll have an announcement in the next while. But I can't think of, Chris Jones has been around a long time. I put that in my column on Monday, the Monday Morning Goalie, that the longest he's stayed anywhere was Montreal for 5 seasons as defensive coordinator from 2003 to 2007. Chris Jones, highly connected guy. And I wonder, Darren, if he, listen, I respect and love Jeff Reinbold too much to call him a retread, the coaching retreads, as they say. But Chris Jones is not averse to dipping into the U.S. NCAA coaching talent pool to bring guys up. He's done it all the time, but not for special teams. I wonder if you would want to hire an American to coach CFL special teams because of its uniqueness.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I know. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, there's a ton of value in a guy who's been around the league for as long as Jeff Reinbold has, who knows the nuances of special teams. That's where you see the biggest wrinkle. I know on offense and defense, an extra player is a pretty big wrinkle. But when you're talking about no fair catch, you're talking about the rouge, you know, the wider field, the different rules for the ball going out of bounds, all those types of things, you know, whether it's inside the 20 or not, simply running it out of the end zone and where the ball is placed. There's a lot of value in having somebody who's experienced with Canadian football at that spot.
From Brady, watching in the Bridge City. And thank you, Brady, for sticking with us into the new year. One of our P1s, no doubt. Brady says, he's texted on the 902. He says, time to watch the RP show with my hot iced tea in my RP show mug. Last show before I have to go back to school. John Madden's passing was sad and unfortunate, left behind a legacy. Mike Tomlin has 15 straight seasons without a losing record. Big Ben's last home game was memorable. Yeah, only because it was his last game at Heinz Field. 123 yards passing, not that memorable. And he goes on to say Connor Bedard has been on fire lately. Well, there's no doubt about that. Thank you, Brady, for chiming in with all those thoughts. Moose, we're going to take a break right now, and we'll come back and bring in more Taco Time viewer comments. Right now, Carlos in Indianapolis is leading in the Clubhouse for the comment of the week. It's not that great, but it's still the leader. Hour 2 is brought to you by Great Western Original 16. Extra smooth, extra refreshing. Find Original 16 at a store near you today. And that includes all across Alberta, where we will be broadcasting beginning Monday for 2 weeks at the Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Can't wait. We'll be right back. You're watching the RP Show on Game Plus TV, YouTube, live, and 24-hour sports radio at rodpedersen.com.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Some of the challenges we face with the CT technology that we have today is some of the deficiencies in around integration with some of our other systems. The addition of 2 new 4D simulators within the programming, the Saskatchewan Cancer Agency is going to have significant impact on the care we provide to the people of Saskatchewan.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might sprain your wrist, or even fracture it. A severe wrist fracture can take at least 2 months to heal properly. And it can cause you to develop arthritis that keeps you from doing something as simple as picking up your child without pain. Slips, trips, and falls can have a lifetime impact. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
A legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep. A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games. Play among legends at betregal.net.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. Rockstar can operate your entire supply chain, from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the Rockstar buying group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at rockstar.com.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpedersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpedersenshop.com.
Laid back and kicking it, let's head back to the studio. Here's Rod.
Hey, and the Moose fixing his hair, too. Lovely cans you got going there, kid. Hey, how about a sports update? A 4th straight loss for the Edmonton Oilers. Ryan Strome had a goal and 2 assists as the Rangers defeated the slumping Oilers 4-1 Monday night. McDavid and Neon Leon held off the score sheet. Meanwhile, the NHL postponed Ottawa's game Thursday night in Seattle after 3 more sends and a coach entered the league's COVID-19 protocols. The Pittsburgh Steelers kept their playoff hopes alive with a 26-14 win over the Cleveland Browns. As mentioned earlier, Steelers quarterback Ben Roethlisberger threw for 123 yards, a tug, and a pick in likely his final start at Heinz Field. Pittsburgh needs a win at Baltimore and an Indy loss to Jacksonville to reach the postseason for the 12th time in Big Ben's 18 seasons. Antonio Brown watched as Jamorant scored 36 points to lead the Memphis Grizzlies past the Brooklyn Nets 118-104 Monday night. AB's NFL career is on hold after he left the field and his Tampa teammates in the Bucs win over the New York Jets on Sunday. This sports update presented by Ballers Rec Room. Check out our brand new line of games for the Tab Brewhouse and Drive-Thru Liquor Store, and for Red Bull Canada. Red Bull gives you wings. Earlier on, Moose and I designated our featured games of the night. I'd love to know what the viewers are. Mine is the Calgary Flames at the Florida Panthers here tonight. I think that should be everybody's featured game in the NHL. Florida 46 points going in, the Flames 40. It's a big game. I wouldn't go so far as to call it a Stanley Cup preview. I really wouldn't. That'll probably be January 27th when the Vegas Golden Knights visit the Florida Panthers. And then Moose's is the Texas Bowl. LSU versus Kansas State. And I'll get to these comments in a second, but hey, I got to ask you this. How much did you enjoy, I wouldn't say bowl weekend, how about championship weekend? Sugar Bowl, Orange Bowl, Cotton Bowl, a lot of bowls.
I loved it.
Yeah, well, let me just say this. As you know, my plan was to go to the Capital One Orange Bowl, but now as I'm divulging more and more of my immediate future plans, I didn't go because I knew that I had a flight back to Canada this week, like on Saturday, and I didn't want to catch the Rona. And I don't know if you watched any of the Orange Bowl or not between Georgia and Michigan, but there was 70,000 people packed in like sardines into Hard Rock Stadium. I still call it Hard Rock Stadium. And I'm watching it on TV. It was a blowout anyways. Georgia destroyed Michigan. They humiliated them. They pantsed them, actually, to advance to go up against Alabama in a huge rematch game in the Natty next Monday night. But anyways, I didn't go because I didn't want to catch the Rona. Quite an atmosphere, though, hey?
Unbelievable. Of course, watched all of it. Watched every snap of the game. And, you know, Georgia was the better team. They had a better game plan. They neutralized the speed of Michigan. The front four on the defensive line of Michigan, they did a great job taking Hutchinson completely out of the game. Thought Cade McNamara couldn't do a whole lot. So, yeah, it was a tough one for Michigan. Now, so I thought it was great. I thought the two semifinals were awesome. I thought the earlier game was good, too. I mean, obviously, Alabama was too strong. But this is the least excited I maybe have ever been about a college football national championship in my life. Like,
yeah,
I just, the issue I have, all along I had a huge issue with Georgia even being in the playoff. Not that they weren't one of the top four teams in college football, not doubting that, but they lost a championship game, the SEC championship, to Alabama. So why do they just get a do-over game? That's what I have a problem with. If you want to have a 12-team playoff or an 8-team playoff in college football, they wouldn't have been in it because they lost the championship game. So it would have been each of the conference championships. I'd have rather had Notre Dame in the game. I'd have rather had Florida. Who was the Florida team that played the Gators and beat the Gators in the bowl game? They were 11-1 or 12-1. I'd have rather had somebody like that and them get spanked than have Georgia in the game just because of the do-over fact and the fact they lost so late in the year. But that's just me.
Adam Schultz watching on YouTube says the Rose Bowl was epic.
Oh.
The only one that wasn't epic in terms of a blowout was the Orange Bowl, the game that you were talking about with Georgia and Michigan. But
yeah,
I think it was Tacona Pally wrote in here earlier and said, congrats, Rod, on your 21-point prediction for Alabama. No, I didn't. I said it was going to be 20 points, and it was 21. Dagnabbit. It was like the Grey Cup. I said Winnipeg would win by 7, and dagnabbit, they won by 8.
Yeah.
I'm getting to be pretty good at this, Moose.
I know.
If you were good at it long before I was, but
I'm not good at predicting the score.
Watching.
I'm good at setting the odds. You come in and nail the score.
I don't know which is better. The General, they're really amped up for this game in Sunrise, Florida tonight. And I'll say it again. I was talking to some Flames broadcast personnel to see if they were going to be at the game tonight, and they're not traveling. They're very upset that they're not traveling for obvious reasons, but particularly here where, by the way, I told you this morning it was 16 degrees Celsius. It was supposed to be hot all week. When I say hot, I'm talking Monday was supposed to be 31 degrees Celsius yesterday. They whiffed on that one.
Whoops.
This morning it was 16 Celsius, but it got up to 25 Celsius by the time we went to air here. And I'm just concerned about going down to Sunrise tonight because I got the top off the Jeep. Top down. and it's 27 miles from here. It's like driving to Milestone, Saskatchewan from Regina.
Okay. Yeah.
In terms of distance. The
Not
drive's
far.
a little different.
Yeah.
The drive's a little different, if you know what I mean.
Really?
12 lanes.
You can't see to Tampa Bay from there on your drive?
Well, let me tell you something. Like, here's the one reason why it's difficult to sort of get your bearings here, because every single time I put in the GPS to get from where I'm living to the rink, there's like 8 different ways to go. And every time I get a different route. It's all depending on traffic and whatever sort of delays. If I were to put into the GPS, Regina to Wilcox, there's one.
There is only one way, period.
For the most part, unless you're going to go down past the correction line, cut over to Rollo and go south, or if you want to go to 4 Mile Road or go all the way to Kareen.
Not a lot of options.
Well, this is a lot different. So anyways, the general in Calgary is popping off. He says that Barkov better keep his head up. Oh, can I say this?
Yeah.
Because, oh man, it would have been a lot of fun last week being on the air with what was going down in the games here last week. I went to the Tampa Bay, Florida game, and I don't think people understand. People are people. Fans are fans. I don't care where you are or what the league or sport is. A rivalry is a rivalry.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you were watching the score sheet or following along when the Panthers went up. They beat the Lightning 9-3. Okay. And the buzz in the rink, some of the people, the things that I was hearing were hilarious. Some guy was like, let's ring up 10 on these clowns. Like, they literally hate the Tampa Bay Lightning here. And they're going to hate them until they beat them. But I'm sitting there in the press box going, come on. Let's have a Donnybrook. If you really hate each other, let's prove it. Old-time hockey, Eddie Shore. And I think it was 5-2 Florida after the first period, 4 or 5-2 after the first period. They did blow it open, but it wasn't until late in the game. There was one fight. I guess that's all you can ask for in today's NHL. We got one fight.
Yeah.
That ain't bad. Randolph Charles, watching in Ontario, says you forgot the Pangman Junction. Oh, at 6 and 13? There's a little Saskatchewan lingo that most won't understand outside the province, eh, Moose?
Oh, yeah.
The Pangman Junction. Tacona Powley in Winnipeg says, are those gravel roads to Wilcox, Rod? Partially. What about it?
Yes.
From my cousin Christine in Medicine Hat. She says, from the farm, you can see several small towns. Now we're settling into
we're getting into it.
Story.
Yeah, we're getting into it now, because the difference from here, from a small town to a big town, was if you have no gravel roads, you were in a big town. Like Wynyard, 16, 18, 2,000 people. That was 2,000 people is a big town. Largest one on the Yellowhead Highway, right? Elfrost, gravel roads, small town.
Isn't that the home of Bob Irving?
Elfrost?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, it's Lestock. Right, Lestock. Here's another one from John in Winnipeg. John Ohm. He says, I once heard that Saskatchewan's so flat you can watch your dog run away for 3 days. Hey, John, drive outside Winnipeg for hours. Not even funny. Anyways, back on point. I had CFL stuff here, and I'm going to go check the text line here in a moment. But because I have a U.S. college coach that's DM'd me, said he's listening today and loving the CFL talk. Let's get on that for a second. Did you ever think that Brendan Tammon would be...
Nope.
He was already working in the league in Montreal. But when I broke the story Saturday night that he was joining the Ottawa Redblacks, what did you think about that?
I was shocked. I mean, I hadn't really heard his name circulating as somebody who was imminently going to, have a significant position in a front office in the CFL. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it, and it's just off the board for me. It had been a while since we'd heard the name Brendan Taman. For me, it just felt really off the board. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I had to think about it for a minute, and I think it's probably a good move for the Ottawa Red Blacks. He's had success in the Canadian Football League. He's pretty well liked, but it was just off the board and a surprise.
I'm trying to think of the other. I guess Reinbold was saying how the coaching carousel is spinning. He put that on Twitter. Reinbold said that. I wonder how many people are paying attention other than the just hardcore industry people and hardcore fans. And the reason I ask that is Randy in the Peg writes in. He's watching on Game Plus TV, and he says, Randy from the Peg, best wishes in 2022, Rod Clam. Big game for my Chargers Sunday night. Huberto's on a heater. I haven't got into the game notes yet to see what Johnny Hooby-Dooby-Doo is doing for the Florida Panthers, other than I know that he's not leading the Panthers in scoring. Barkov is. Still not a lot of people are talking CFL right now. Brian Goldstrom is watching in Withrow, Alberta, and he says, looking good, Moose. Are you getting ready for curling coverage? I thought they were canceling all the curling. That's the read I got.
Yeah, we're going to see where it goes. And you're looking at Ontario provincials being affected. The mixed doubles was affected. We're going to see where this goes because this is the time, right? January, February is when you get all those provincial playdowns as you get ready for the Scotties and the Brier. And wait and see. That's the best I can tell you is wait and see.
Going on 2 years of wait and see.
I know.
Adam, watching in Hamilton, he says, Happy New Year, Rod and Moose. My family's been sick with the Rona the past week, but we're getting through it. It's been almost a year since I started watching the show. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Adam, for that. And he is a huge Ticats fan. I got to say this, and producer Clark has just told me that Craig Button is logged in, so I'm just going to address this, and we'll go to a break, and I'll bring you back for overtime, Moose, okay?
Perfect.
I felt like a bit of a tool during Grey Cup week, reporting that the head coach of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, Orlando Steinauer, was headed to the University of Washington Huskies because that was the word amongst the football people. And then it doesn't happen. And Orlando gets the keys to the castle there. Big raise, big promotion, titles, and all the works of it. And I think what went down there was that they were afraid to see him go. They think a lot of Orlando Steinauer in Hamilton, and they signed him to the big deal. In the end, I think I did him a favor. Got him a big raise, Moose.
You did. I mean, that's exactly how it goes down. I mean, I don't need to know. I don't need to talk to anybody inside. But that's exactly how it happens, right? I mean, obviously, that would be a special place for him to go and coach in Washington and all the rest. And Hamilton doesn't want to lose him. So they stepped up, and he made a choice that's best for him.
You're welcome. Moose, we'll see you back here for overtime.
You betcha.
All right, when we come back, TSN Director of Scouting, Craig Button. Game day, Panthers and Flames. We'll preview that game. We'll talk about the new arena situation in Calgary officially being snuffed out. Lots to talk with Craig Button about when we return. You're watching the RP Show on the Game Plus television network. Available all across Alberta on the TELUS Optic cable package. YouTube Live and 24-hour sports radio at rodpedersen.com.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
A legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep.
A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games. Play among legends at betregal.net.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. Rockstar can operate your entire supply chain, from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the Rockstar Buying Group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at rockstar.com.
Comfort has always been something we, as people, strive for. It means that the places we live and work, and that the people we care most about, are able to go about their lives, focusing on the things that matter. Our focus at FlameTech has remained the same for more than 20 years. Now more than ever, we need each other to support our local businesses. As an industry leader in combustion services, we are proud to attend to the needs of our communities and support the local economy.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Oh, yeah, he's back. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
Daytime Sports Talk is on the air. It's our first show of 2022, so Happy New Year, everybody. We continue broadcasting from beautiful and sunny South Florida as we bring in our next guest, TSN Director of Scouting, Craig Button. It's been far too long, and I'll say Happy New Year to you, Mr. Button. And listen, I would love to start with the good news before we get into the bad news, which was the World Juniors cancellation. If you don't mind, sir, Flames and Panthers tonight, I think, is the game of the night in the National Hockey League. What do you think?
Yeah, it's you got the Flames who are playing so tremendously well, and you have the Panthers who are playing really well. You know, Sam Bennett won't play because of the suspension. It's too bad. I'd like to have seen him play against his former team. But, Rod, I'm not happy with you. I'm sitting up here in Calgary, okay, and I'm looking forward to the game. You know, it'll start at 5 o'clock local time here. It's minus 41 with the wind chill here in Calgary today. And you're sitting there in balmy South Florida, showing off and everything. Like you're tormenting me. That's a real nice way to start 2022, isn't it?
I'm so sorry, and that it was not my intention, other than to say that I'm very grateful, and I'll be thinking of you in the press box at FLA Live Arena tonight. But my Flames broadcast buddies, as you know, aren't traveling. None of these guys are going to be here tonight, which is unfortunate, but it'll be a great game nonetheless. And I was thinking about that Sam Bennett thing, and it's unfortunate that he isn't playing tonight. He did skate with the team this morning, but as you said, he's out with a 3-game suspension. Can I ask you, what went down with the Bennett Flame situation there? Why did that not work?
Well, you know, it's a great question. And, you know, it's interesting that you have a player that you drafted 4th overall. And it just seemed to me that he kept getting pigeonholed into areas of the game and areas of the lineup where, you know, they just said, that's who you are and that's what you are. And they would swing him up into other areas of the lineup with other skilled players. And yet it seemed that when Sam just was off a little bit, he didn't get any forgiveness. And we saw what happened. Sam got to a point where he said, hey, this is untenable for me, because Sam has a lot of confidence in his own abilities, and he felt that a change would help him as well. And when Joel Quenneville, the previous coach in Florida, got him, he said, geez, I didn't really know a lot about him, but I really like the way he plays. How you look at players, and how you utilize players becomes a big part of their confidence. And I think Sam felt that he was capable of more, but the Flames just kept saying, oh, no, this is what you are. This is what you are. And you end up with that friction, Rod, where the player goes, wait a sec, this isn't what I am. I'm capable of more. You're not giving me a chance. And it leads to a trade. And certainly, when you're watching Sam in that role, you're evaluating him in that role, because it's hard to say that, he's more than that. I'm talking about from a coaching point of view. But what he's clearly shown is that he's a lot more than what he was in Calgary. And, we see it all the time. We see players in one spot, not thrive. They go to another spot, breath of fresh air, fresh eyes, different approach to the player from a coaching perspective. And the player, really ends up being really good. And I think that that's what happened. I mean, it's a lesson, though. It's a lesson, though, Rod, in making sure that, if you draft the player 4th overall, like Sam Bennett, and you see offensive ability, why are you not putting him in offensive situation? Like, I would rather take a 4th overall pick that's shown offensive ability and let him stumble and fail before I fail him myself. I think he got failed in Calgary.
Well, for sure. He hasn't had down nights here. I've watched every home game and a lot of his road games. He's playing power play. There's a lot of talent around him, and I'm just really happy for him. And again, it's unfortunate that he won't play tonight. Listen, I do want to ask you about the Calgary Arena situation in a moment, but I got to ask you about the Oilers. I'm sure you watched. It was the only game last night at the Rangers last night. McDavid and Draisaitl held off the score sheet. They're calling for the coach now in Edmonton. Is this team going to turn it around, do you think?
Well, they can. The way I look at the Edmonton Oilers, and I look specifically at their goaltending, Rod, have you ever walked over a rickety bridge? You get to the other side, and, doesn't mean you couldn't get to the other side, but it wasn't a real comfortable walk over that bridge. That's the Edmonton Oilers goaltending. It's rickety. And, if you want to keep trying to tempt the rickety bridge, at some point in time, it's going to collapse. I think the goaltending's subpar. And I think that, you can blame the coach and you can look at where they're at. But the goaltending is subpar, puts the team back on its heels. You're never sure what you're going to get. Forget about game to game. You don't know what you're going to get shift to shift. Look at New Jersey game the Oilers played. They scored 5 goals. They got the lead late in the game. They push Hamilton to the top of the blue line. All he does is loft a shot to the net. And Mike Smith, all 6'4" of him, makes himself 4'6", collapses. It goes right in over his shoulder, over his head. And then he stops 2 breakaways in overtime, and then he gives up the winner on the shot by Jack Hughes. That's what I mean. It's not game to game. It's shift to shift. And you can't survive. You can't subsist on goaltending that sucks the life out of your team, that sucks the oxygen out of your team, where everybody is always saying, oh, God, what's next? Oh, my God, oh, he made a save. Oh, my God, what now? What now? It puts a team in a real tenuous spot. And that's where the Oilers are at. And to me, they have to find a different goaltender. And that's Mike Smith and Koskinen. To me, neither one of them are consistent, dependable. If you want to keep walking over that rickety bridge, don't think because you got to the other side that bridge is stable, because it isn't. And neither is the Edmonton Oilers goaltender.
Yeah, and I think Stuart Skinner might be the best of all of them, but he's not the answer either. But, I mean, last night when Koskinen plays the puck over the glass, that's just right here, right? And misplaying it. So, but is it a money thing or a contract thing? I'll look at this and say Ken Holland was a goalie. He knows goalies. So what am I missing there that he wouldn't address that, the most important position on the team?
Well, and I think you touch on it. It's an important position. And to understand what it means to the rest of the team. Again, when I talk about a team being on its heels, you're sitting there going, "Oh, he stopped it. Oh, good. Oh, geez, there's not a bumble there." And it starts before the game even begins. It's when the players, okay, what kind of goaltender are we going to get tonight? Okay, just stop the puck. Don't give us a chance, right? So to me, And I'm really clear on this, Rod. A manager's job is, number one, identify the problems. Number two, find solution. Ken Holland has to find a solution to that. And it's not about last year. It's not about what they did or how, they've shown good signs. It's not good enough goaltending. They've shown it for long enough time. It's inconsistent. It's unstable. And I don't care if you had a good 2 months last year. I don't care. It's not any good. And it's not going to get better just because you believe it will. To me, it's incumbent upon Ken Holland because he's got a team that I think he improved in the offseason. He's not giving that team a chance to thrive now. He just isn't. He's got to find a way to get better goaltending in there. And maybe it is Stuart Skinner in the short term. Maybe it is. But to your point, you're throwing a young kid in there that's really developed nicely, right? You got to go find the solution. And the solution isn't what they have there now. Either one of them.
Yeah, 2 words, Braden Holtby. Local boy, get it done. I don't know why it always goes so fast when we do this, Craig. I got to ask you about the World Juniors. I felt I'll just say it, depression from here when they pulled the plug on the World Juniors. It was the guys on the panel, Duffy, you guys, and Mackenzie was like a morgue they were broadcasting from Rogers Place. It was terrible. Have you ever been part of something so deflating as that?
No, because, when we went back to March 2020 and, that Wednesday night when Rudy Gobert tested positive, we came in on Thursday, we did the shows, but it was a world of uncertainty, right? And, it seemed that we were so far past that and the protocols that were in place, those are, necessary to admit countries into the tournament. But I'll tell you, Rod, it becomes such a part of the holidays, and it's a big event. It's a best on best event at a time of the year that's really special. And everybody that works on that broadcast, I mean, they're sacrificing family time to come and work on something that not only are they immensely talented, but they love being part of it, and the people make it. So the disappointment was profound. But I'll tell you, I got to Red Deer on the morning of the 26th. And there was already, I had to go in and do a test right off the bat. Then I had to do an antigen test at the rink. And, there was a testing tension from the minute I arrived in Red Deer. And that tension only escalated over time. We lost people at TSN because of positive tests. The officials were testing positive. And you just felt that this tension was never going to go away. It escalated. Then the U.S. Had the positive tests. And then from there, the minute the U.S. had the positive tests, my feeling certainly was this is hanging by a thread. Well, I was wrong because there wasn't a thread to hold it together. And it was nobody's fault. It was nobody's fault, Rod. Sometimes despite the very best efforts, 100% best efforts of everybody involved, and that includes the Sutters in Red Deer who were 85% sold tickets trying to find a way to get to 86, 87, to everybody in Edmonton, the volunteers. And this is coming off of last year. Sometimes events conspire against you, and that's exactly what ended up happening with this Omicron.
Oh, what a kick in the gut. We got 60 seconds, Craig. Gary Bettman has said the Calgary Saddledome is unacceptable. The new arena deal's now dead. Where do we go from here?
Well, the arena deal as it evolved, it looks like it's dead. But I think the structure of it is solid, and the structure based on the information and based on what I've been able to understand a lot better from a week ago or 2 weeks ago, is that now you look at the whole thing, and so what I would say, cooler heads can prevail. Sometimes in a negotiation you get up against it and you go, geez, this isn't fair. And so Murray Edwards says that this isn't the right thing. And then the mayor, Giote Kondik says, this isn't fair. I think just take a step back. Just take a step back. Look at it, 10, 15 days, maybe 21 days from now and revisit it. Because they spent too much time getting to a point that was really productive, that was going to be very, very beneficial for all parties concerned. And I think that getting back to that and understanding how far they've come, that they can get this thing back on track. Because it's important for Calgary, it's important for the Flames, and we don't want to start hearing about a team moving and everything that goes with with an arena deal that isn't in place. Too much work has been done in the past. And I think that the framework, a strong framework, this isn't a rickety bridge like the Edmonton Oilers goaltending. There's a strong framework in place to get a deal done, in my view.
Good to hear. Very positive. Well, beginning next Monday, Craig, we will be broadcasting from the Grey Eagle Resort and Casino for 2 solid weeks. First of a residency of this show. So we'll be in Calgary. Maybe I'll see you at the rink. But thanks for this. And as always, enjoying your work, sir.
You're not going to invite me up to Grey Eagle? It's a 8-minute drive from my house. I can do this live.
Then we'll see you there.
How about that?
You're always so busy. Expect a text. Thank you, Craig.
Thanks, Rod.
TSN's Craig Button joining us from Cowtown. Taco time, viewer takeovers coming up next. And over time, you're watching the RP Show on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, and 24-hour sports radio at rodpedersen.com.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
People donate blood for moments like this.
But there are lots of reasons why Canada's Lifeline needs donors every day.
Like the fact that someone with leukemia can need up to 8 units of blood a week.
Or that donated blood lasts no longer than 42 days.
Or to help new moms and babies, like Henry.
There's lots of reasons to donate blood. That's why we need donors every day.
The need for blood is constant. Join Toyota and our Toyota dealers in supporting Canada's Lifeline.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall. Or you might sprain your wrist, or even fracture it. A severe wrist fracture can take at least 2 months to heal properly. And it can cause you to develop arthritis that keeps you from doing something as simple as picking up your child without pain. Slips, trips, and falls can have a lifetime impact. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
Not a son. Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Hey, Don.
Hey, Quinn.
We have a surprise for you.
Oh, my.
Addiction. It destroys relationships, families, and lives. It makes individuals and the people who love them feel powerless. But the good news is that addiction is a treatable illness. At Aurora Recovery Center, we provide everything you need to build a solid foundation for your recovery, with holistic, evidence-based treatment tailored to each individual. Located in Gimli, Manitoba, on the shores of Lake Winnipeg, Aurora can help regardless of whether or not you feel ready or have tried before. Aurora Recovery Center. Recovery for life. Visit AuroraRecoveryCenter.com for more information today.
Hey Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to RodPedersenShop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at RodPedersenShop.com.
You got something to say? You want to add to the show? What are you waiting for? Don't just sit there. Say something. Now, back to the studio with Rod.
And the studio is in beautiful South Florida. But I'm starting to get a little worried, Moose, as we bring the Moose back in here for overtime. You just heard it. We will be with yourself at Grey Eagle Resort and Casino in Calgary beginning next week and starting Monday. And they're saying minus 50, minus 40 to 50. It has been something, man. How's the mood of people there in the NHL's Bermuda Triangle?
Can't tell you. Haven't left the house. It's been too cold. But no, it's not terrible. I mean, everything's okay. We're used to this, but we're just hammered in this deep freeze. And on Sunday, we got up to single digits in the negative. So, I think it was -8 in the late afternoon. And then right back to -20 the next day. I'm like, did we pass through some outer space Chinook for one day and that was it? And right back into the cold weather. And then right now, that snowstorm is happening as we speak. So I think for the most part, we're okay. We're kind of in the Christmas hangover, if you want to say that. Still kind of in the Christmas mood a little bit and now getting back to work. So it's not bad.
Well, we are enjoying the Sunshine State as much as possible tonight. The Flames and the Panthers is the last game that I'll be able to watch before returning to Canada. And I think it'll be a real fun game tonight. Last minute of play, if you can believe, in the RP show. Last minute of play. Randy from the Peg writes in, he says, update for you on Huberdeau, second in the league in assists, fourth in the league in points, 8 points in his last 2 games. Yeah, he's rolling, but Barkov still leads the team. Ken is watching in Scranton, Pennsylvania. He says, I'm kind of thinking the Bucks haven't released AB in fear that Dallas, Green Bay, or Arizona pick him up for the playoffs. Good point. That's a situation we'll be watching over the next 24 hours, and we'll see if Antonio Brown will be a Buccaneer within 24 hours if he ever plays in the NFL again. Any last thoughts, Moose, before we let you go?
No, that's wild, right? They got to actually officially release him just because he's not a member of the team. He can still be on the roster.
They can sit him down. Exactly. Yeah. Unless he pulls an OBJ and says, I'm out of here. Anyways, thanks to Jeff Reinbold, thanks to Craig Button, and we will see you all tomorrow at noon Eastern right here on Game Plus.
Angering people is a gift of mine.
How about that? Hot take. I like it. Spicy. Bingo. Let's go. Oh no. LFG.